welcome everybody to Pick Central on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel. Once again, I guess we got another few days of this. I think till late July, till Mr. Walker comes back. But once again, joined by Rico and Ev today. We're getting ready for the Major League Baseball All-Star game tonight. Ev, how are you today?
I'd be better if Schwarber had any heart, any moxie, a decent swing at a baseball. But I'd like to go on record, Kyle Schwarber's dead to me. That's just all I want to say.
Rico, how are you today?
Good. Yeah, it's, sports is tough. No sports this week. This is a tough week. It's a tough week. You got to hit the magazines. You got to, watching an old game. It's tough. During the, it's a tough week. Tomorrow's the worst. Because at least last night you had the Derby. Tomorrow's tough.
You want to say for the people, for Wednesday, there is a WNBA game at noon.
Okay.
Ooh, day gambling.
Between I believe at 17 and 8. The Chicago Sky is playing the Seattle Storm.
Okay.
One team is 19 and 6. One team is 17 and 8. So
It's a good matchup.
So a couple of Goliaths going at it in the WNBA. So
Should we get some good
I'll be in the lab. I'll have a pick for that on Wednesday.
There you go. Well, WNBA Ev. Well, let's go ahead and we'll start. Today's show, we're gonna take some calls, 1-888-STOOL-22. We're gonna hit on a few topics, and we're gonna do a little bit of a Major League Baseball midseason review. And that's kind of the thought. I've started. Rico, you mentioned passing a few days. I'm kind of starting my college football studying and research. I feel like I need to have the big fall gamble. We need to put Mr. Walker on his toes with this cockiness, this college football. Somebody needs to put him in his place.
I smoked him last year.
Yeah, somebody's got to put him in his place here. Last night I started with the ACC, kind of got that going a little bit. Kind of very curious. The NC State team's got a lot of hype.
I saw somebody picked them to win that.
They're 8-1.
They got them ahead of Clemson.
They're 8-1. 8-1's a hell of a price on that.
0-2 Clemson. I think it will be difficult. I think NC State is still in a position to lose a game that they're not supposed to.
I definitely think that.
That means that they'll have to, we've seen it. It's very, very difficult to go undefeated.
Yeah.
It's also very difficult to go 11-1. And, especially if, like I said, you're going to lose the game you're not supposed to. So that means they got to go beat Clemson. I think it's in Clemson.
It is. No, but the rest of the road games are manageable. The rest of the road games are manageable, though.
Yeah, but it's 100% with that. But Dabo, going to beat Dabo
they lost last year.
Back-to-back on the loss, bulletin board material, and I love Leary. I want nothing. Like I said, I wanted last year. I wanted that playoff to be Oklahoma State, Cincy. Give me something new. I hope again this year we kind of see it spin on its head. I would love nothing more than NC State to make that in with a real shot. If Bama falters, which they're not gonna. Ohio State, it's a rarity that they won't get in. But if you talk about four teams in the same style like they were last year, defensive minded, I think that's a good playoff. It's not going to sell the tickets with the Blue Bloods, but sometimes that's the most, we've seen so many blowouts. Why wouldn't you want to take a shot on something being close? That's where I'm at.
No, I agree. Let's get in. We'll go ahead and start with Soto winning the home run derby. I believe he was, 5-1 last night, something like that. We saw a lot of picks on here. I think we all made bad ones. I only watched a little bit of it. Some scenes from it. What'd y'all think of the Pujols thing?
That was nice.
Yeah, it was. Schwarber.
He's mad at Schwarber.
Yeah, Schwarber just shit the bed. I had a 4. I basically would have swept the first round. I was counting the money after Pujols had 13. I thought it was gonna be a layup for Schwarber. I had a plus 350 parlay and I put a lot on Alonso Schwarber, just the two of them. So that was devastating to lose that, especially in a playoff after or a swing off, whatever you want to call it, when it should have never been a swing off in the first place. Schwarber should have easily hit 13 with the extra minute with 4 minutes.
Yeah.
13, 14. Well, I guess he needed 14 to win.
Crazy.
14 should have been nothing for him. That was an all-time choke job. Carl was saying he thinks there was a few guys that on the field that thought that he packed it in just for almost for the story a little bit for Pujols. I don't think so. I think he just couldn't find the swing. You saw it. He was hitting a lot of ground balls. He was swinging a lot of high pitches. He wasn't able to lift him up.
You got to put it in the.
He was putting him in the dirt.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Julio Rodriguez obviously was the story of the night, even though he didn't win. It seems like that happens so much now.
People knock themselves out, go off early and get tired.
Yeah, I thought Alonso got gassed out.
Yeah, Alonso. Just Julio. When the guy puts up 30.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like Jesus Christ.
Well, he needs the money too. That's going to be a big
No, that was the oversight by me. That he was the guy who makes no money. I should have thought more about that Because obviously, I know Lonzo got like a little bit of money this year. He hasn't made the money he deserves. Obviously, whenever the arbitration is up, probably next year, is it?
I believe so.
Is it next? He's gonna get a massive contract. But yeah, I mean, like Julio Rodriguez, $700K guy. Like he just more than doubled his salary last night. Or no, he didn't. He lost. I fucked up. He lost.
Yeah.
But I was saying more. I think it happens so much where, like these guys who put on the big show, like when Hamilton lost. Like some of these guys, when they put on the big performances, they just get tired. And
they run out of gas.
Well, Alonzo didn't help himself fucking deadlifting in between, but I don't know what that was about.
Lonzo's such a hardo. That almost pissed me off that I bet on him because I don't like him.
Right.
I think he's a pansy ass. So I was
when I met him here, he was a nice guy. But yeah,
I'm sure I'm sure. Yeah, a lot
he's
of
crafting his way to be. That's what I was gonna say about pull holes. Like a lot of these guys adore him, you know, and obviously like younger guys like basically watch this whole career coming up, like idolize them. But like, do you know a lot about pull holes as far as somebody who like ruffled, like he never made any controversial statement? You know what I'm saying? He's another one of those guys. Like
he just
the only thing I did see somebody.
I don't want to say adored by everybody, but he definitely. Nobody will be like, I hate pull holes.
Well, I saw one person throwing shade on him. A big Twitter account last night which said, apparently Pujols divorced his wife of 22 years the day after she had brain surgery or something. I saw on Twitter. I was like, man, that's pretty.
Is that real though?
I don't know. I shouldn't spread that as.
Even I'll give him. Well, all right. I mean, we can look into.
You know what? I shouldn't. I
could be.
But even with that said,
I don't know.
The guy, I guess, stays so under the radar that that's not a story.
Yeah, he's done a
I
good
didn't know
job.
about it till now.
I've always wondered how old he is. That was always my thing on Pujols.
A lot of people have said that. And one thing I actually need to say has nothing to do with this. I just remembered it. That yesterday I said Cam Smith is going to Live Tour. I got totally duped. That is not true.
Okay, it was just a rumor.
Yeah. I got totally duped.
Fox 21 News, Colorado. I guess it's got some legs. People magazine.
That's the pool story?
Yeah.
Pujols with the wife story.
Days after underwear. That's a tough sell, man.
That's a tough look.
But again, like to my point, and again, obviously you don't condone that and, you know, whatever. But he's done a way to, like, that's not a major, like, he's not getting killed for that. You know, yeah, it hit people, but we didn't really hear it. You don't hear about it. I don't know.
Yeah, he's done a good job staying under the radar.
Yeah, I guess it's fitting the night the Jeter thing comes out. Like, it's just a guy who controls the story and kind of, you know, controls the narrative. Nobody's ever going to say a bad word about him.
What are your thoughts on the Jeter stuff?
Last night I thought it was a little bit boring, but I mean, yeah, I played it up last night in the blog. Like,
of course,
I hate him, but there's definitely a lot. I think he handcrafted like his image. I think baseball handcrafted his image. He handcrafted his image. You know, I get it. I mean, he was the shortstop for the team that was the most successful, like, you know, long time. You know, it's good. You want people to like. You want that image to be the shining star, the golden boy. So, as a Met fan, I hate him, obviously. But, you know, you play a little bit of that up. Like, I get it.
I will give Jeter credit. At least he was smart with all those parties he had in New York, making people give their phones up. He was a man ahead of his time, not allowing people to video whatever the hell was going down in his penthouses.
No,
I respect that.
Literally, no one, I don't think on God's green earth did it more right than Derek Jeter did it. Even the haters should be able to admit that, which everyone hates him because everyone just hates the Yankees. So I mean, that's why even when I see this stuff on Twitter, I don't even respond to it because I'm just like, guy, you wish you had Derek Jeter.
The best was I sent my dad the blog, and like he's sending me there's blasting bullet points. He goes, "Oh, you should have done the one in '97 when Torrey added 5 shortstops." So that, like, he was like a Little League father, so little Derek could be included. Like, that's ridiculous. They took 5 shortstops because he was clearly, like, the worst of the 5. And then there was another one where there was, like, a fight between Seattle and or Texas and the Yankees, whatever team A-Rod was playing with. And Jeter and A-Rod was standing at home plate, like, laughing, yucking it up. Chad Curtis or Shane Spencer, one of them, like, ripped him after the game, and he got released, like, shortly after.
Yeah, you don't come for the
Yeah,
king.
okay, well, I mean, back your teammates.
Yeah, but you're Shane Spencer.
Yeah, all right.
That's Derek Jeter.
Fair
That's
enough.
5 rings, Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
That's the captain.
Fair enough.
Like, he don't have time for these
Fair enough.
antics. He's
Fair
winning championships.
Yeah.
Gold gloves.
You like when I
All-Star games.
You like when I said the city was grieving in 2001 and he didn't step up for the city when they needed him the most? That was the World Series when they lost.
They lost
I got on one yesterday. Yeah, I think he hit like 148 in that World Series. City needed him the most. They were grieving. He couldn't step up. It's a shame.
That's the one I remember the most. Luis Gonzalez into left field.
Hates first responders.
He just won 4 of the last 5.
He hates first responders. What a shame.
That's not true. Loves first responders.
Oh, that's crazy. All right, All-Star game tonight. As usual, you've got a line, National League minus 115 at home, American League coming back even money. American League, I mean, they've gotten the stats like crazy.
They've won them. I don't know what the number is.
What was that time? Didn't they win like 8 in a row, 11?
Oh, it was a ton.
They've had to have won like say 12 of the last like
they
15,
dominant,
16 or like something like that, like crazy. I'm just an AL guy, so I just take the AL. I just do everything.
And that's working.
I like the NL.
I just root for the AL. Like it is what it is.
I like the NL tonight.
Do you?
Yeah,
I admit their team probably is deeper. Like I would admit that, but it's just such a coin flip. Like it's just a crapshoot.
I had no idea until
who's
over
there to
7.5. Even though
that's the thing is, if you look at the 7.5, that is low. I think it's going to be a pitching type game. One guy can swing, can change the game with one swing of the bat. So you got to look at. I'm looking at home run hitters for MVPs. I took Goldschmidt. And I took Crone,
Goldschmidt's having hell.
Goldschmidt's just a fucking beast. Ev takes him every day in the hit parade, and no one even blinks.
He always comes.
Nobody blinks of like, oh, you're ordering. You know what I mean? Like you're ordering that sandwich again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like roll with that. But yeah, if Crone could get in like in the 5th inning and it's 1-1 or 0-0 and he hits a bomb, which he's prone to do, he's like 3rd in the league in National League in home runs. I'll take my shot at a guy at 70-1.
70?
70-1 for some sprinkles. The other one that Ev likes is Julio Rodriguez at 45-1. That's a great pick if you think
he's swinging a hot bat, Alan. Because I said for the MVPs, obviously you can win it early. You go out there, you go 2 for 2, hit a home run in the first, second inning. You know what I mean? But I like the guys who can make that big splash late and like win the game. A lot of times those guys get MVP. So.
The other thing is those guys got great odds if you're not starting.
And so Julio Rodriguez
60-1.
Julio Rodriguez 45-1. I mean,
that actually,
why not?
If the game is uneventful early, there's like maybe a score on an error or like a fielder's choice, and we score early or a sac fly, like nothing out of the extraordinary. Those guys late are going to give you great opportunity.
It's who's going to hit like the 3-run home run.
100%.
This could be a 2-2 or 3-3 game.
Definitely.
Who hits the home run in the 8th inning that wins you the game? That guy usually wins the MVP.
So take a guy coming off the bench with that, I said the unintentional guy to win that would be hilarious is Travis d'Arnaud. Frank would lose his fucking shit if Travis d'Arnaud, who did nothing as a Met, ends up winning MVP tonight.
The other one I said, too, just had what shits and gigs was McNeil on the other side, Jeff McNeil. I can see him coming up with a big, go 2 for 2 late, come with a big, 2 RBI double or something. Just have a sprinkle a little action MVP on both sides. But I'm on the AL. I'm on the AL over 3.5.
Okay.
Just rooting for the AL.
Who's starting pitchers tonight?
McClanahan
and Kershaw. Are you kind of upset that Alcantara didn't get the start?
I think he's
Kershaw in LA.
I think he's been the best
giving
pitcher,
the lifetime.
We just and I get it. I get it. I totally get it.
Not that
we've just been so high on Alcantara, and he is flying under the radar for most baseball fans. I feel like
Miami,
putting him on in the start would be.
No, he should definitely go in.
You'll see how good this kid is, really. Like.
No, I mean, he's going to light it up.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Alcantara's, I think he's been the best pitcher, definitely in the NL this year for sure. McClanahan's been unbelievable, but I mean, Alcantara, if it was anywhere but LA, he probably starts. Kershaw, the guy's a future Hall of Famer.
Still doing the damn thing.
It's your team. You're at home. I get it.
Yeah.
No issues with it.
That's fair. Okay. A couple other things I wanted to touch on today, non-baseball, and then we're going to get into a little bit of a Major League Baseball mid-season review, and then we're going to take your calls at 1-888-STOOL-22. I just want to touch on a couple things from SEC Media Days yesterday. It was Ole Miss, LSU, and Missouri. Obviously, you get Lane Kiffin in front of a microphone, things are going to be said. He had a lot of thoughts on the NIL stuff, and you can't blame him from the Ole Miss perspective because you're trying to compete against Bama and Georgia and their budgets, but he's basically saying it's like Major League Baseball going up against the Yankees and the Red Sox and the unlimited payrolls. He's saying like he wishes there was a cap. And don't get me wrong, Ole Miss does have some boosters like FedEx is big Ole Miss people, but it is tough, to, I'm sure, compete with, you look at A&M, number 1 recruiting class. A lot was said about Jimbo. Kiffin's done awesome with the transfer portal. I mean, I feel like he's managed that as well as anyone. Do you think that looks weak by him saying this is an unfair playing field?
Not weak, but my take of it would be that he's complaining about people with a bigger house, but he still lives on the rich person block. If that makes
that's
sense.
fair.
He's in the SEC.
He just got $8 million a year.
Yeah, he's in the SEC. He's a personable guy. Like, kids can make money there. I'm sure there's like a Big 12 school or an ACC school that hasn't had major football success in a long, like Georgia. I think Georgia Tech's like really killing it with NIL. You know what I'm saying? That hasn't been good. Like Ole Miss SEC football, people are still fucking ponying up. You got the Grove. You got.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Like
and I mean he's like I said,
he's complaining somebody's got a Porsche in the driveway, but he's got a Benz. Like let's.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to say weak, but I think he should just count his blessings, and he could like see the glass half full. He could turn it into something he wants.
Well, I think the thing he's done so well is that Ole Miss has never historically. I mean, Hugh Freeze had a couple of top classes and gotten all that trouble. But Ole Miss historically, doesn't out-recruit Alabama or LSU or Georgia on these head-to-head battles. So Kiffin's been the man coming ahead of that transfer portal. I mean, he literally, now it's become such a big thing, but he was one of the first in on it. And Ole Miss has done better in the transfer portal than almost anybody the last few years, and he did it once again. This year, they've got they might have 12 to 14 new starters through the transfer portal, something crazy like that. So I feel like it's one of those things where, I mean, of course he's going to say stuff like that when you're going up against A&M and Texas has come in with their unlimited resources and stuff. But, I mean, he's doing a pretty damn good job managing it regardless.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought Rico hit the nail on the head, kind of just like they got money too. Obviously, it's and I see both sides of it for Lane Kiffin, where like it's tough when, like you said, you got to go up against A&M and Bama, who they got more money than you. Agree, still in the rich block, like compared to, I mean, if you took Power 5, they got to be in the top 20%.
Yeah, no, I think that's so. They're top 20, top 25.
But I mean, no, but I still understand it because he's not like just to play like just the counter. And I know you know this, but like obviously he doesn't got to compete with Georgia Tech. He's got to compete with Bama, so it's tough. Like when you're, no, I'm saying I know you
100%. Yeah.
Saying like that's what I'm just seeing both sides.
You're right.
Like, he's got a Benz in the driveway, but he's got to compete with the Lambo guy. So you're in like
so there's definitely frustration, but like my point was more,
I know what you're saying.
The guy from Georgia Tech is watching that thing going like,
no, yeah, he's watching Ole Miss and he's saying,
I wish I was that guy. Like,
no, he's the guy with the 98 Honda Civic, and he's like, you got a Benz.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are you crying
100%,
about? 100%. I'm seeing both sides of it, but
I'm still getting out of this triple option shit.
When you're in the Benz and you're racing the Lambo, you're like, shit,
definitely.
I'm in a losing fight.
It's a good counterpoint for sure.
But but obviously Kiffin's a good recruiter, and I think it's more interesting to see the way that we've talked about it a little bit on the show, and I'm sure we will more and more as college football season gets into play, as we see these big NIL contracts play out, especially the ones that are more like these, we'll call it like the A&M LLC, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where as I think you see, or like we talk about a lot, like the Tennessee kid who they allegedly got like $8 million.
Yeah, well, they're all these schools are doing these collectives.
Did
you see what Texas Tech did?
And the Miami kid that they talk about, when a couple of these kids don't pan out, we'll see how much these boosters are willing to pony up X, you know what I mean, like $7, $8, $9 million for a kid who's no guarantee. I'm just curious to see the way that plays out long term over the next like 4 or 5 years of them giving money, like significant money to guys who some of them are going to end up not being good. Some of them are going to be great for sure. But I'm just curious to see the way like they start getting more strategic or more, not stingy, but just like less willing to just like throw a blank check at
we said
17-year-old. You know
we said it from the get-go. The kid who just got it, was it a Texas kid or an Alabama kid?
Miami kid got a big
Miami kid, right? Yeah, $8 million. Like when that kid, he doesn't land up to it, you're gonna reset the market.
There you go.
You know, like the next guy, they'll be like, "Hey, we got to bring it back to earth here."
That's what I'm saying. I think we're gonna see more of that.
8 and 10. The interesting thing though is the schools like Miami and maybe like Texas and Texas Tech and Oklahoma
might not give a fuck.
Yeah, well,
might just say
I meant more so Alabama, Ohio State.
Keep rolling the dice until one of them's good.
Like the schools that are paying right now to get like perfect example. Let's say Georgia Tech, by some rationale, went and ponied up $12 million for the number one recruit and got him, and he didn't pony up or he didn't stand out. Georgia Tech's gonna be like, dude, all those guys are
doing that again.
No, we're never doing that again.
Going back to the triple option, boys.
But the Alabama guys, to your point, right? Like, hey, I lost $8 million. Okay, well, if I give this kid fucking 12 and he's a winner, that's all I'm going to care about.
It all works out,
You know what I mean? Like, they view it as, I didn't lose 8. I, like, whatever. Like,
you took a shot.
I got that title. That title's priceless.
You get 3 $10 million quarterbacks. All you need is one of them to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch, like, how the market resets itself. What you kind of need, I guess, to even it out is some of those Bama guys to kind of go bust and see if people they'll get a little stingy with their money and bring it back to earth. But you never really know. I mean, it is interesting to give these kids that much money at unproven at 17 years old.
My only other question with it is, with it being unregulated, and Kiffin's brought this up, and this is a fair point, I think, is like these contracts are like written in sand. I mean, what if these kids don't get the money? So there's some situations where I feel like because it's not regulated, I feel like some sketchy stuff. I mean, I know there were rumors that some stuff was going on like that at USC. I don't know if it's unfounded or what, but I feel like something's going to happen at some point on this when you're promising millions and millions of dollars. And I don't know.
Yeah, I would advise
a lot of empty handshakes possibly.
I would advise the kids to get obviously look out for their best interest.
Get lawyers, agents.
Yeah, 100%.
There's lawyers essentially.
And then also just with the transfer thing, like all these kids, especially if let's hypothetically, all right, we're giving this freshman X $million. He says F this. He's there for a semester. He's gone by spring, to a different school. Do you still have to pay? Like what are you going to be honoring this stuff? At some point, is it going to be like you have to make a 2 or 3 year commitment to the school to get money? I don't know. It's just the thing with it. It's just so unregular.
Well, what about you're right. I mean, in the sand, like what about this hypothetical, right? You get a guy who's, hey, we're going to give you 4 months of car commercials. 75,000 for each commercial or, whatever. We'll roll them out in the season. September, October, November, December, you'll get your 4 checks. Like, a lot of money. Guy gets hurt in September. You think they're doing that November commercial when his backup fills in for him at running back who wasn't on the radar?
Fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's
a lot of variance.
one of those, like, hey, yeah, you voided the, like, you could find a lot of leeway there. Hey, we used you as a, like, pillar of the program or a keystone recruit or like a showcase of the program. You haven't had any carries in 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, and if you're not out there showing out in the field, then you're not visible.
Yeah, it's a wild scene.
I'm just curious, like how these things, like contractually, how these things are getting drawn up, or like the way, like I don't, like you said, like it's they're weird. Like are they got to be more? I would think with the amount of money they're talking about, it's got to be more than handshakes. When you're talking like millions of dollars.
Oh no, it is. Well, they're running these things. So I mentioned I
like
dove,
the LLCs.
I dove deep into. There's these things called collectives. All these schools are doing collectives. Ole Miss is called the Grove Collective. So what they do with the collective is it kind of like pools all the boosters and players into one resource, and it's like the intermediary, I guess I'd say, to where people will go to the collective and say, "Hey, this is what I got as a sponsorship. Here's what I need." And there's somebody that runs the collective, and that like kind of hooks you up. Like the intermediary between the booster and the players. But it's better to put it all in one place. And like, for example, now this transitions to Brian Kelly and LSU because he also spoke yesterday. But there were rumors like LSU didn't have as much money as Georgia and Bama. And Brian Kelly's like, we got $50 million sitting in our collective. Like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe that was an expression. But that's how they're doing it. Now, and it makes sense. Like, why not pull it all together into one resource pot to make it like logistically easier, maybe would be the term.
Also, if you're,
makes sense.
It's going to be boring, but you put $50 million in a CD for 6 months, you make, I don't even know, 6% of 50. You know what I'm saying? Like that money.
You're gonna
making money on it as well. So then, hey, like what I'm sure they know what they're doing. The colleges know what they're doing. They know how to make money. So.
Yeah. On the LSU front, too, Kelly spoke. That we Brandon and I headed out on their over under 6.5. I stand by what I said. I think Brian Kelly's 54-7 his last 4 or 5 years at Notre Dame.
When was the last time he had like a really?
He had the 4-8 team with Deshaun Kaiser.
Okay.
He had that 4-8 team.
What year was that,
They lost to Texas.
That was 2000.
Remember they lost to Texas week 1, and everybody thought Texas was back.
Was it later than that?
A little later.
15 maybe.
I remember watching that
14,
game
15?
Labor Day night. It was the 50-48 overtime game.
But everybody thought Texas was back.
If I had to guess, I would say that was
15
or 16. If I had to guess.
It was after Everett Golson left. I'm sure of that because he went to Florida State. I think it's him.
If I want,
it could be like 15.
I'm gonna say. You know what? I'm gonna say 16. I think I'm gonna say 16.
Well, on this year's LSU team, I'm just, Kelly, they were asking about Notre Dame, blah, blah, blah. He was just like, look, I wanted a new opportunity. I've been there since 2009. I want to compete in the SEC.
Yeah, I think he just maxed out.
No, agreed. And he was also tired. Every year he was really good, and then he'd get his teeth kicked in by Bama, and he wanted to be able to have the athletes compete. I think the thing that's interesting about this LSU team this year, they're over under 6.5 wins. Boy, that looks like a rat line. Y'all see the line against Florida State week 1? 2.5? Boy, that looks rat.
They're laying?
They're laying in New Orleans, but I don't know. I just thought that it might. I mean, I know LSU.
I think Florida State might be better this year.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. It looked. I thought it definitely looked ratty. Like LSU 2.5 in New Orleans. I thought it was gonna be like 3.5 or 4. But the LSU front this year, they crushed the portal too, and their secondary is really weak. They got 3 new corners, 2 safeties, 2 guys that played for the University of Arkansas. They were Louisiana, like 3-star guys that did well at Arkansas. He got home. I think LSU, because it's just this transfer portal thing. It's a different world we live in. You could turn it around so fast now because you don't have to develop these kids. Texas A&M in baseball this year got 15 transfer portal guys. They didn't qualify for the SEC tournament last year. They made the Final Four in baseball this year.
Well, yeah,
you can get this. You can just get. It's a different world.
Look at Muss, 2 Elite Eights.
Yeah.
You know,
you can just get this thing turned around so quick. And I don't know. When I look at LSU this year, there's a lot of debate with what's the quarterback thing? Jaden Daniels from Arizona State, Miles Brennan. What's going to happen? I just think that Kelly is such a huge upgrade over Coach O. There was so much weird stuff going around the program, and I think he's got all these, the transfer guys, and they got a lot of injuries last year. Keyshawn Butte is going to be one of the best receivers in college football. So I don't know. I know people say I'm hurt.
Yeah, I always like a coach coming in with a chip on his shoulder. I think Brian Kelly definitely has that. The thing I would worry about though is, and I love Daniels. I thought he was dynamic, but if you don't dominate the Pac-12. You worry just a little bit that he's going to get a little bit of growing pains in the SEC. That's the only thing I would say.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting with the Miles Brennan thing, too, because he's in his, 6th year, and he was playing really, he was behind Burrow for a couple of years. He played really good those first couple games in 2020. They lost, shootouts, and then he got hurt. And then last year he was going to be the guy, and he, fell off a boat or something. Did y'all hear that story? It was wild. And he was, out for the year before the year, so he's kind of made of glass. But I feel like, he's also a big New Orleans guy from the Mississippi Coast. I wonder if they're going to give him a shot in that New Orleans game to start. But either way, I was curious about that. So those are the SEC guys. It was Lane Kiffin and Kelly. I think Saban's up today talking about – he's already mentioned a lot of the NIL stuff.
That conference is just brutal, though. I mean, it goes without saying. But, the SEC, and you look, especially if you can get them grouped, if they have a 4-week run of – Bama, Florida, A&M, and somebody that's fucking murderer's row.
The Ole Miss thing this year is a really weak first 4 weeks, and then from mid-October to the end, it's bloody.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
They moved the Bama game back from late September to November, and so now it's LSU. It's Auburn, LSU. I think Arkansas and Bama are all in a row. It's just there. No, A&M's in there too. It's just stupid. All right, well, I just want to touch on a little bit of the SEC Media Day stuff. I do want to go next year when it's in Nashville, when it's a Barstool Sportsbook state. I think it makes sense maybe to go for the networking. I do think that when it's not a sportsbook state, maybe it doesn't make as much sense from where we're sitting. All right, let's get on to some Major League Baseball, some midseason kind of review stuff, and then we're going to take your calls. We do have a bunch of calls lined up. That's 1-888-STOOL22. A couple of categories I got. Most surprising team, most disappointing team, breakout player, biggest bust, and second half predictions. We don't have to hit all of it, just some ideas. Get some conversation going. I'm going Orioles at 46 and 46 because that division – I went through all the division records, and the fact that every team is at 500 or above in that AL East, when they all play each other a ton, I don't know how the Orioles are 500 with how good. You got the Red Sox, Jays, Yankees, and Rays. I think getting to 46 or 46 is an unreal accomplishment by them when you look at that division.
100%. The a couple others I would shout out as well would be, got to say, the Twins bouncing back because they had a lot of hype last year. They made the playoffs a few years in a row, and then last year they were terrible. This year they're playing really good baseball. I think they're definitely first in that division for sure.
They are up 2 games.
And then also, got to give credit to the tear that the Mariners have been on.
Nope.
They're the
Mariners
team.
Are the big
They're the team that they're pissed that the All-Star break came in. They won 14 in a row.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They wish they could keep fucking playing, but they got a really good team there.
They're a serious threat in the wild card.
Got some good pitching. Logan Gilbert's really good. Robbie Ray started off really bad. He's been pitching much better as of late. They're a team that I think is going to be contending till the very end. Team.
I would go Mariners as a huge surprise. Trying to think, there was one other I liked too. It's gonna sound like a little bit of a homer. I don't want to say surprise, but I think the Mets are overachieving. Of what,
considering the Scherzer and DeGrom stuff,
but they'd be good.
I know. No, they are.
I think that's a fair take to say they're overachieving.
Oh, they definitely are.
Especially, their two ace pitchers have barely pitched.
Yeah, the disappointments to me are the Blue Jays.
Easy, Blue Jays 100%.
White Sox,
Angels.
And I know they lost their best player, but to an extent, a little bit, the Padres. Now, when they get that's kind of unfair. They get an incomplete. But the Blue Jays and the White Sox
100%.
Are super underachieving right now.
Those are the two easy.
Super.
The Blue Jays are still 50 and 43, though. I know that that's not that bad.
The White Sox are the most disappointing for sure.
They're 46.
They were a team that you thought was going to win that division.
They're only 3 back.
They still can. Not saying they can't, but I'm just saying they're a team that I think a lot of people would have thought right now would be 10 games above 500.
The Blue Jays, to your point, Mincy, could do a good job of they haven't burnt out yet. So, like, they're in cruise control, and if they do put the foot on the gas and make a move, they have just as big speed as anybody on the freeway. They can really – that lineup can be really good. I think they can contend with the Yankees. They could play with the Yankees division. They know them well. But, they've just kind of – like I said, it's when you have a Ferrari and you're driving it at 40 miles an hour, which is what the Blue Jays have done – this year, like, they've just been a little underwhelming. That's all. But the White Sox would be the big disappointment.
The thing with baseball, though, and I just keep remembering in 2019 the Nats, and then in 2021 the Braves. I mean, everybody was saying those teams were both huge busts this time of year, Yeah. And it's just so much. It's such a grind and war of attrition. So much of it is peaking at the right time, and Toronto could still come together. The White Sox have had a lot of injuries too. I know they kind of struggle in the field a little bit.
So, yeah, it's not a great division, though. They should,
No, I mean, do you think – so right now, a couple questions. Do you think the Whites – so it's Minnesota is up 2 on Cleveland and 3 on the White Sox. Who wins the AL Central? I still feel like the White Sox, if they get some back, are going to come on. They just got so much talent.
They have the best team. Because they even just haven't.
They're only 3 back. Not bad.
That's the thing that worries you a little bit. Like
Cease and Kopech.
We haven't played. They haven't played great, and they're still right there for the Twins. That makes you worry a little bit about. That's kind of what makes me worry about the Mets too. Like, we've been playing really well, and we're only 2 up on the Braves. Now, obviously, getting
the Braves
those pitchers
have played
back
really well. Also,
change things, But I don't know. I think if they haven't figured it out now, and they probably will, but I'm going to say the Twins. I think the Twins might be able to hold them off.
Okay.
Their starting pitching isn't bad.
The Angels, I think, I know that they weren't, like, nobody knew going in what they were going to be, but the fact that they were, beginning, them and the Astros were in first battling, and they're 39 and 53, especially with having Trout and Ohtani. I know that they haven't surrounded them with good players, and their farm system's been crap for a long time, but just the way they collapsed this year and Madden being out, they got to be up there for biggest disappointment. NL, I got a question. Who do y'all think wins the NL Central? Right now, the Brewers are 50 and 43, and the Cardinals are 50 and 44.
Cardinals. I actually hope the Cardinals lose like 5 coming out of the break, and I get better odds. Cardinals be right there.
Right now, 30. I'm about to add them.
You get what I'm saying. I just want them to drop, overvalue the Brewers for me once.
I think they're
Cardinals.
The Brewer people just suck off the Brewers pitching. It's good. I just don't think it's as good as people like the Woodruff and who am I drawing a blank on? They got a few guys.
I know Hader's been struggling lately.
Hader in the bullpen. Why am I?
He's been unreal all his career. He's just been falling.
Burns,
yeah,
Burns guys. I just think they're good, but they're not that they're not that they're not in that Scherzer that realm of the elite of the elite. I don't know. I'm a Cardinals rider. They've become a team I just kind of like and I bet on a lot. But I just trust them more long term.
I also think that they're a team that will land the right piece, if that makes sense. They're not, at the deadline, they're going to go, ooh, that was a good move. That was a good, they'll go
it won't be crazy either.
They'll be they'll
jump out at you when it happens.
They'll go get a great reliever, that nobody knew was available. They'll get another, veteran bat to add to the lineup,
They're also just a good second half team.
100%. That was my thing. Is they always
are good.
So right now, if I actually checked it, I was looking at them at 28-1 to win the World Series. They're 33-1 right now.
Yeah, they didn't play great heading into the All-Star break. Not horrible, but
yeah, they were in trouble scoring. They had some games where they weren't scoring runs for a little bit. I don't know. I'm taking a look at them at 33-1, and I'm gonna look up their odds to win the National League. I might take them. I'm kind of looking to buy a future, have a team to sweat the second half, and I think the Cardinals may be winning it. NL West, would y'all consider everybody knew the Giants would regress after that insane, they win 108 games last year or whatever, 48 and 43. Would you consider that a disappointment, or is that about? I felt like they'd regressed to about this.
Yeah, disappointment might be. I think disappointment for that would be a little harsh for them.
And their over under was it wasn't 86 or something.
Yeah, that's why I think it's tough. They're on pace to go above that. That's why I think it's tough to call it a disappointment or just say they're disappointing.
You see the Cardinals' second half schedule?
What is it, tough or easy?
It's favorable.
All right, fair enough.
Reds, Blue Jays, Nats, Cubs, Yankees, Rockies, Brewers, Rockies, D-backs, Cubs, Braves, Reds, Cubs, Nats, Pirates, Brewers, Reds, Padres at the end. Very favorable.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure, the Brewers are playing the same division, obviously, but they could to your point, Cardinals can open up on a fucking
Oh,
tear.
yeah.
They do, and they just every. I know it's weird.
Last year, 20 in a row, baby.
They do that stuff all the time.
What is it, 19, something like that. They won in a row.
No, I feel like right now is the time to get on it. I mean, and I'm looking at let me see their odds to win the division. They're plus 130 to win the NL Central. The Brewers are minus 175 up a half game.
It's because they're pitching. I'm telling you, Vegas loves their starting pitching.
Okay.
That's why they're always in a spot like this. I feel like they're always these like big favorites, and I just don't get it.
Brewers seem to have more tougher ones. Obviously, Rockies, Twins, Red Sox, Rays, Mets, Dodgers, and obviously I'm cutting out the cakewalks of the Diamondbacks and the Reds and shit. But they get the Yankees, they get the Mets again, Marlins, who are still kind of pesky. Like the Brewers seem to have more tougher, a little bit tougher trips on the end. I think it's the Cardinals. I almost want to lay Cardinals by like 2.5 games to win that division. You know what I mean? Like I wish I could get that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on it. One other, I'm looking through the odds in the Barstool Sports book. No faith in the Cleveland Guardians. They're plus 465 to win the AL Central. Two back.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing with them is I feel like their hitters have overachieved a little bit, and I think that's probably why they're expecting some regression out of the lineup. I mean, Bieber's been like good. They've had a couple guys who've been like decent. I don't know.
But if you got three
teams, I could also like weirdly. I'm curious how they're going to approach the deadline because I could even see them being like, I don't know what they're going to do. Like they're kind of like on that. They're kind of on the fence. But I'm like you said, they're only 2 games out. But I don't know if they're going to go they're not going all in on this team.
I don't think they're going all in on this team. But if you got 3 teams kind of just in that,
it's up for grabs clearly.
Dogfight of a division. And you're gonna give me 465, and I'm only 2 back.
Point.
That's like a straight up value play.
That was my point.
Yeah, I
mean, even if I lose, I don't even care.
That's a good eye. I don't hate that.
Yeah, like it's like $23 wins 100 or whatever. I mean, something like that.
I'm trying to think if there's another like kind of crapshoot division because most of them are
kind of decided. I mean, like the Yankees are obviously a massive favorite, as are the Dodgers. The Mets are minus 1.
The only other one that's a little pesky, but I think it's too big of a hill to climb, would be the Phillies in that division, like just following that like long shot type
32-1
rationale. They're 8.5 back. Do you think they're going to win it? No. But look at the rest of the divisions. We talked about the NL. It's a 2-team race, and there's no value in that's how it works. The West, the Dodgers have that wrapped up. The East, the Yankees have it wrapped up. We talked about the AL Central is the only other one, and the West, the Astros kind of have it, unless you think the Mariners just continue to just go berserk at 9 back. I would say the Phillies and the Mariners would be like the holy shit division winner. But other than that, they all kind of seem pretty much locked up.
I think the Mariners could close the gap, but the Astros, it's just tough.
They're 9 back.
If it wasn't the Astros, I'd have a better shot.
They're 9 back. And the Astros are bullies when they want to be.
That's what I'm saying. They're just good.
Bullies when they want to be.
Mattress Mac put 2
I was going to say, that's what I just was the transition.
I've been telling you.
Man, I guess we got to cheer against the Astros to get our salaries paid here when he's got that freaking bet on him.
Well, I've been telling you that.
I mean, damn.
The Yankees are playing out of this world at 64-28. The Astros are 59-32, so that's 5-4. They're 4.5 games back. Yeah, I mean, so the tear that the Yankees are on, the Astros are right there. So start looking at the Astros as a team of like, hey, they're fucking just as good. You know,
their pitching's
4.5 back. Yeah, they'll another team like the Cardinals. They'll add something like, oh hey, another little piece to the team and make it better. So.
All right, I want to. We can also we got a bunch of calls that I want to make sure we touch on. I appreciate all our guys hanging on the line for us. We're going to start with Jack. He's got an MLB trade deadline question. What's up, Jack? How are you?
My question is, I know you guys are mostly New York based, but I wanted to bring up the Red Sox because Chaim Bloom, the GM, is being lit up on the sports radio because he cannot extend Devers. They're looking to sell at the deadline, maybe Bogarts or J.D. Martinez. And I wanted to know why the Yankees can't sign Judge long-term in these big markets.
I mean, I think we're going to after the year. I mean, Judge kind of even came out and said a little thing yesterday. It's not he wants to stay in New York. It's not even that he wants like the most money. I mean, I think the Yankees fucked up in the sense that now we're gonna have to pay him even more money. They should just ponied up a little bit more. The new Steinbrenner collective is definitely cheaper, But I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of that on the Twitter world that the Red Sox fans are kind of furious with what they've been doing. They don't want to sign Devers. They were saying even there's a chance that, like, I don't know if they would do it this because the team's playing so well. I don't know if they would do something crazy before the deadline, like Bogarts or something. But I've been seeing a lot of that. I don't know, Rico, if you've seen a lot of that. There's a lot.
I haven't. But why would the Red Sox, a team that's won 4 championships in the last 15, 20 years, and been consistent, like, you know, bottomed out with that fried chicken thing, whatever the fuck was going on in the clubhouse. But, like, for the most part, the Red Sox have been right there. Why now all of a sudden are they going to sell?
Well, it's also weird because they started out so bad this year
Or not
and fought their way back in. Like,
Yeah,
how do you sell after you fought back this
Well, why are you going to turn yourselves into, like, an organization that doesn't make run? Like, you're the Red Sox. You make a run for it every year. Why? We're not going to sign these guys? What the fuck's that about?
Yeah, I don't know.
Our GM is
Go ahead.
GM is kind of a Moneyball type guy,
Mhm.
and the idea is that, like, our pitching is so bad, especially our relief pitching, that it's just not worth competing in such a packed AL East. You know, the Orioles are going nuts right now. Even the Blue Jays are still up there for the wild card, despite being a disappointment.
Rays are right there.
It's such a packed division.
Yeah, but you've been the class of the division. I don't know. I have a hard time with that defeatist attitude, but
Well, no, it truly is. They are big on the Moneyball thing, and they're basically saying they want to put their money into pitching over, like, giving your shortstop and third baseman, like, basically like $500-400 million combined. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I think that's kind of where their heads at. Obviously, fans, you're furious. There are 2 guys that are like your guys that have helped you win championships. They've been unbelievable players. So I totally understand the frustration there if you're a Red Sox fan. I'd be pissed too.
That's a Pittsburgh Pirates and a Miami Marlins problem. Watching your guys go succeed.
Yeah, the Red Sox throw.
You know, like the
Red
Oakland
Sox
A's
usually
for
throw
years.
money. You know, even
Yeah, definitely.
They
So-
usually throw money
I
down.
don't know. That's a weird. I would be furious too. It's a weird.
I've seen a lot of it on Twitter with like
I saw Coley. Coley
and Boston guys, like they've been
Coley
pissed
wasn't
about
happy about it.
it. Like there's been a lot of like animosity on both sides about it.
Last year, Liverpool fans did a fan protest against the Fenway Sports Group, and I heard calls on a local radio thing trying to do the same. Like, people are furious, and, you know, Fenway sells, so they can get complacent.
Yeah. Your point on Judge, though, real
Thanks for
quick.
taking my call.
Your point on Judge, real quick. I think it doesn't make sense for him to sign long term now. He's got the Yankees pinned into a corner, and at the end of the year, when he hits the open market, it's a bidding. It's a
Judge had said he wouldn't do anything in the middle of the season. Like, he said if the contract wasn't done before the year, like, it's over until the end. Like, I'm not doing nothing until the end of the year. He said no.
I'm just
mid-season
reiterating that
negotiations.
it doesn't when you're in line to be the biggest contract in the offseason, why would you sign you're pigeonholing yourself.
Well, now it's just worked out because he's having an unreal.
Yeah,
year.
he's
So
gonna
now
but
they're
he's
like,
he's gonna have guys
checkbook putting
against
zero
him,
in the
for
end.
Sure, yeah. Yankees have to sign him.
No, we will.
We're going to get to Devon, who's calling about the All-Star game. What's up, man? How are you? Hello? You there?
Hello.
Yeah, what's up, man? You're on Pick
Hi,
Central.
Jim. How you guys doing?
How we doing?
I'm good, man. I just had a quick idea for you guys, and I know Rob Manfred is an all-time idiot, all-time. But if the MLB gave a week and a half off for the All-Star game, and we had to expand rosters, and we had some guys that weren't starters like Alcantara, Xander Bogaerts, who deserved to be, and you had a full week and a half off, you could have your pitching matchups when you come back ready. But I just don't understand, like, you could do a 3-game series. You could do a 7-inning game, a 7-inning game, a 9-inning game, whatever you wanted to do. We could have all the players you want to see, the young players, the old players, everything. The only problem is that Rob Manfred would probably black it out in my area. So that's how it works.
The blackout thing is brutally frustrating.
Yeah, he'd probably be like, this is a great idea, but we're going to put it on MLB Network and it's going to be blacked out in your area.
It's a good idea.
I just don't know how you can have a week and a half off.
Well, the
I mean,
season,
what would you do
that's
with
my
it?
idea.
Like,
The
'cause
season.
it sucks that Alcantara is not the starter.
Yeah, but it is Kershaw in L.A., and Kershaw's,
I know, yeah.
The season starts in
If you
most
expanded those
Northeast.
rosters, you could have the legends.
The season starts in most Northeast cities where it's cold. It finishes in most
Yeah.
Northeast and Midwest cities where it's cold. We're going to add it. What are we going to play the World Series around Thanksgiving? It's a tough sell. It's tough also to start.
It's already such a long.
You got rainouts are a liability. Like the Yankees,
Yeah.
aren't you playing some weird 2-game thing or 1-game thing. Like
Yeah.
logistically now, with
And you also can't take a week and a half. Like right now, Major League Baseball is the only game in
It is.
town. Like, how do you take a week and a
They're
half off
already
when
a
you're gonna?
dying
Right now,
sport.
They're taking a full week right now. I mean, why not add an extra 4 days so that everyone?
Nah, it ain't a full week. It's just Monday to Wednesday. I mean, they got games Thursday.
not a full week.
It's all right. All right,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they play Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I got you.
all right. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man. Y'all have a good one.
We'll take one more, and we're going to be joined by John Rich, one of the newest Barstool employees who is tearing up Pick Central a tenth of a unit at a time. What's up, Sean from Maryland, calling about college football? What's going on?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys a local flavor kind of question. Talia Tagovailoa, he's getting added to a few national watch lists for some quarterbacking awards and like best player in the country awards. Knowing that he plays with significantly inferior talent than his brother did at Alabama, do you guys see him being kind of downgraded because of his relationship to his brother like Derek Carr did, or do you see him, becoming more of a fun draft prospect knowing that he's playing with worse talent?
What was the name he was saying?
Talking about Tua's brother in Maryland.
Oh.
I think with him, look, my thing with him is he's just got to be more consistent, because I've seen some games where they look like world beaters and score 40 or 50, and then they'll come out and play like they did against Iowa last year and lose 51-3. I mean, there's just and I think that comes from their head coach too. They recruit. They actually do get pretty good athletes from the Beltway and stuff. But man, if you can figure out what's showing up week to week with Maryland, you've done better than me, because I had a lot of trouble with that.
I'm a big Talia guy. I know he's I feel like he's one of the more polarizing / like highly debated college football players. I think he's very, like, people always have I feel like a strong opinion on whether they like him, or a lot of people just think he stinks. I think if you think he stinks, you just haven't watched him enough.
He's a lot more mobile than Tua.
For sure, I think so too. And I think people that say he stinks, they've seen a bad moment or a bad like blip on the radar. I think he's good. Like, I really like him. I'm curious to see, like, I don't know about his like in terms of his, like, pro like prospects, because I know he's kind of short, isn't he? He's only like 6 foot, I think. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Tua's not that tall either. He's like 6'1".
Yeah, I know he's not very big. So I don't know how much I could speak on him. Like, it's like, if I'm being honest, I don't see him being like a starting quarterback in the NFL or anything like that. But I think he's a very good college quarterback, and I think I'll say he's underrated because how much shit I see him getting. I think he's much better than that. They got some decent receivers.
I was gonna say, I think Maryland's got more speed, athleticism.
Their defense,
they're just soft. They're a little soft at the line of scrimmage.
No, they could score for sure. Yeah, their defense isn't great.
All right.
They're dead to me for that Temple loss.
Oh, that Iowa game last year, I was all over them on that. Was like a Thursday or Friday night game, and they lost like 50.
That was
Oh my
They
god,
lost like 51-3 or something.
That was like that was the reverse route line. That was like the trick line.
Oh,
They're
dude,
definitely
that
gonna
was
win
that
one
was
point
my
game.
that was the worst
Game
moment of my
is where
football
you learn
season.
that hope is a dangerous drug.
Also, I'm still convinced that if it was Demas who got hurt, right?
yeah.
I'm still convinced that if Demas
Yeah.
doesn't tear his ACL early in that game, the game goes way different.
Which
I'm
one?
convinced. In that game, their best receiver tore his ACL like super early.
Iowa or Temple?
No. I'm talking
Iowa.
Iowa.
Oh,
I'm talking like 4 years ago.
Still-
We're talking last year.
I'm still talking.
There was a rat line. No, because I remember I took
with
the.
idiots and put their best wide receiver on punt return.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. It wasn't our turn. I remember he had tore his ACL, and I'm convinced that the game, it was like a, when like with their placements they talk about quicksand. That was like their quicksand moment, like their best offensive weapon, who was like probably honestly pound for pound their best player, arguably, tears ACL, and then the team just fell apart.
Yeah. There's some growing pains moments. Like Maryland started off 2-0. I was like, oh, that they're getting going. I like the way they're playing. They're scoring. That Temple line was such a fucking. That was like, grow up, little kid.
6,
Like grow up.
The
be a
lane
man.
6. See that with the one last year with the Iowa game, it was they were like going to, it was like +1 or something, where you're like, oh, like this is a Maryland game, and then
They're at home. It's a night. It was in the weeknight game. Crowd, you thought.
Absolutely. And then, but even I got to admit, like I remember being on the show and like saying I'm sharp, like I'm taking Maryland, and all the Maryland people were like, don't do it. Like every time they're in this moment, they get their ass kicked every time. And then I sat there on my couch and watched it happen before my eyes.
That's what makes sports and
I was one
gambling
of those
great.
people
None of
telling you
those.
that.
None of those things go always the same way. Maryland was the right side, and they get their doors blown
Oh
off.
my god!
Right? It's crazy. It's just how it goes.
50.
They get Michigan early this season, so you get saved from that pretty early on. They're going to get their asses handed to them by Michigan, so you won't have to worry about running into.
Is that game in
in
College Park or in Ann Arbor?
It's in Ann Arbor.
Okay, yeah, they probably will then. That's fair.
Yeah, no, they're going to get trounced up and down the field, and you guys can save yourself some money not betting on them.
Well, thank you for the call, Sean. Appreciate it. John, how are you? What's going on?
Good, Mincy. How you guys doing?
Good, man. You got hired the Idol and everything while I was out.
Yeah.
How's everything going? Life at the Soul for you so far?
It's been going great. Just showing up every day, trying to fit in somewhere.
You're writing a good bit of blog. You're writing a lot of blogs. Like, what are you up to? You writing a lot of blogs?
Yeah, that's one thing I know I can do, and it's going to go okay. Is write blogs and pick minus 1,000 favorite. About the only two things I've done here so far, but see how long I can ride those.
That's cool. Just real quick, I kind of, you sit by me, so I've kind of gotten to know you a little bit. Where are you from originally?
Bowling Green, Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah, high school and college there, so I'm a Bowling Green guy. I'm a Mac guy.
Okay, Maction guy.
Absolutely.
You were part of Idol, like how'd you become Stooley or?
Yeah, I mean I've been Stooley forever, but basically I made that Yak Jeopardy for the Yak. It was just like a trivia game that they played on the Yak, and then at the end of it they're like, hey, get that kid on Barstool Idol. So I never would have applied if it wasn't for that. Like,
oh no shit.
Yeah, I had like 500, 600 followers.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean to like apply.
I don't know, but like, I mean, they say they don't care about that, but like, they kind of do. Like, it's hard to get attention of somebody if you're just showing up like, hey, I promise I write funny. Like,
That's fair.
Yeah, so it's tough.
Yeah, platforms matter too, though.
Yeah.
Wallow and Gilly weren't Twitter guys, but they were monsters on Instagram. I'm not saying.
True.
You know what I mean?
Well, I was a monster nowhere, so you know.
Fair.
Hey, it worked out. I figured it out.
Are you enjoying living in New York so far?
Yeah, I just signed a lease. I'm actually going to live in Jersey City.
Okay, there you go.
Man.
Yeah,
A smart man.
exactly.
Yeah.
August
Don't
1st,
blame you there.
Yeah. I got a question though. Who's been running? Who runs the Pick Central Twitter account?
Yeah, that'd be me.
That's TJ. All right, TJ. He tried to bait me into making a pick yesterday. He knew there was nothing on the board.
There was picks on the board.
Not that I liked. No picks that I liked. Tried to tell me I wasn't betting enough units.
I'm trying to think what could have been.
I just said it. If you're trying to win a month, it's going to take you a while to get to plus 15
Honestly,
units.
the funniest thing is the biggest favorite on the board lost.
Yeah, that's what I almost. That's exactly what I was
the
going to
biggest
take.
favorite on the board.
Yeah. I was so close to.
That would have been a devastating loss for you.
Yeah, that would have been horrible. Thank God I didn't, despite TJ's best efforts.
So you said you were coming on today with the pick. What's your pick today?
Yeah, so I had a minor panic attack about 20 minutes ago. I had a pick. I loved my pick. The Palermo Ladies Open. We got women's tennis.
All right.
Her name's Martina Trevisan to beat Alina Evanilson minus 550. Looked like a good line to me. I looked him up. Looked like a sure winner. Martina, my girl, pulled out.
That line's on sale minus 550.
Exactly, Rico. But no, my girl pulled out. She pulled out like 20 minutes ago, so I had to panic, look for another pick. I didn't want to come on here empty-handed. Luckily, the Las Vegas Aces are minus 910 tonight against the Atlanta Dream, which seems like a pretty insane line. There sure is WNBA tonight. I think there's a WNBA game going on right now.
Yeah, there's a big
You're right, sir.
Yeah, I think there is. Joe.
Liberty in the Sun.
Oh yeah, where's the game?
Yeah.
What channel? It's on NBA TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, I might catch a little Fever Sparks action tonight, 10:30 on CBS.
Yeah, there's a good bet out there.
Still trying to scratch my itch after the All-Star game.
At the telestrator.
You might catch a tweet from me at like 10:28.
Yeah,
without that pick.
All-Star game tonight, Ev. You're leading. Solid bounce back month for you, by the way.
Yeah, except I got smoked by the Derby yesterday because fucking Schwarbo over him, dead to me.
Well, nobody had. Well, here's the thing: no one had Soto. So
gambling graveyard, whatever.
Megan did.
Schwarbo.
Oh, Megan did. Okay, my bad.
Jerry.
Redemption for Gallo last year.
Good for her.
Too bad there wasn't a stream for her to talk about it.
Yeah, fucking A. So I'm on AL, guys. So I'm on the AL money line. I'm on the AL over 3.5. And as Hot Ice, we came together as a group. We're gonna do it all together. I'm on the first inning, no runs in the All-Star game. It's minus 125.
If TJ put the acronym up,
I
he's
did it.
dead to me.
I got
but yeah, where I like under in the first inning. I like the National League, and I'll take a stab at Goldschmidt at 13 and Crone at 70.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, and the Julio Rodriguez 45 to 1.
I love Julio.
McNeil 40 to 1. Little sprinkle on each.
I honestly have no idea and took over 7.5, and I'm not even sure it's the good pick. I just had to come up with something to put on the game and turn in. So a lot of confidence there in that pick, boys. But that's all I got. I am looking forward to things restarting, and I'm trying to use this time to start my college. I feel like once football season starts, it's such a whirlwind that if you don't put in the preparation in July and August, you're like constantly playing from behind.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm trying to do. I did ACC last night. I'm trying to do all the conferences. I'm trying to go real deep.
And you can't possibly know everything about every team, even though Brandon Walker will say he does. It's
transfer portal. It's impossible.
But more so, get to know, like, just put it in your head of, like, a team already for me, especially the under the radar teams, like. Charlotte is an over team to me. I think their defense is really weak, and they got a lot of guys on that first team and second team offense, and I liked what they did last year, and they scored a ton of points. Charlotte's like an over team. Just try to put as many of those nuggets in your own head as you can.
How do you study G5? Like, I feel there's a lot of info out on the Power 5. You can listen to podcasts, read stuff, all that. How do you like to study for the G5 teams?
Experience coming back, ton of eyeballs as well. You know, like I watched a lot of Air Force last year. You knew they were in that conference race. Like, I remember that Utah State game. So, like, it's kind of going back to the well of, like, the same teams, like teams you loved last year. I mean, for years it was just, all right, I'm picking up San Diego State and UAB because they're fucking, like, it's routine, you know? Like, they're just good. I'm going to go right back to the well. It's also finding, to me, like, the teams are going to be really bad. And if they're playing early, like,
because you can get them if you know they're really bad early.
I say it all the time. People are always like, "How do you bet college and you lay like 26?" I'm like, because in week 2,
people score 70-something points in these games.
Agreed, but in week 2, the 23 or the 22.5 that I'm laying in week 8, they would
36.
They'd be laying 36.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to lay it early because these teams are way better. Like, they're polar opposites. You're getting a discount on the 23, as crazy as that sounds.
Makes sense. Well, stay tuned. The Yak is up next. Thanks to TJ and Zah on our team. John, thanks for coming in.
Sir.
Enjoyed it.
Races.
And our All-Star game tonight, tomorrow. Win Total Wednesday, baby. A couple of college football talk. Looking forward to it.